So today we'll be seeing um, solutions of mock exam 7, I think. Uh, Only one mock exam, so I think it will be quite quick. So for the first problem, it said that maximum power output is achieved for a simple ideal cycle with respect to pressure ratio when. So we know the condition of we know the condition for the maximum work output or power output with respect to the pressure ratio and the temperature ratio, where T is the T max by T min, and that is T03 by T01. So these both are inlet temperatures, inlet temperature of the turbine and inlet temperature of the compressor. Here, all the options are given with respect to outlet temperature of the compressor and outlet temperature of the turbine. So let us try to find that out. So we know the condition of maximum work output is the pressure ratio should be square root of the temperature ratio raised to gamma minus 1 by uh, gamma by gamma minus 1. So this is the thing. If we go in a reverse order, let's say I'm taking square on both the sides, the pressure ratio, and what I'm doing is Rp square is nothing but the pressure across the compressor and pressure across the turbine. If you look at the derivation, so Rp square means P2 by P1 into P3 by E4. This can be written in temperature terms like so here. In order to hold this relation true, we can see that T2 and T4 should be equal. So this relation comes from this condition actually. T2 is equals to T4. That means the outlet temperature of compressor should be equal to the outlet temperature of the turbine. Option A. This was from directly from the theory itself, the concept of maximum power output. The next question is regarding flame stabilization in aircraft gas turbine engines. So, flame stabilization is required because from the compressor there is the flow that is coming to the combustion chamber will have a certain Mach number, and we want uh, for proper combustion we want that Mach number to be as low as zero point 0.2 or zero point 0.3. So this is achieved using some mechanism. Flame stabilization is nothing but the flame. I mean, the velocity of the gases should be minimal, so as proper flame will be achieved in the combustion chamber. So in order to do so, there are few mechanisms used basically which will create vortices. It should create vortices or a sort of a wake region so that the flow will be slower down. This vortices can be created using bluff bodies only. Bluff bodies such as sort of a V structure, which when the flow comes, it will create a wake at the downstream, and this will slow down the flow. In case you use streamlined bodies, it will actually help in the flow to move smoothly in case of streamlined bodies. So streamlined bodies are not used, and strategic impingement of fuel is is to provide the fuel at the correct location, but it is not aiding to anything like anything connected to slowing down the flow. So the only correct answer is the placement of the bluff bodies inside the combustion chamber. In case you are having any doubt, please stop me there itself so we can discuss. Or else I'll assume that it is understood. The other question is specific fuel consumption can be reduced by. So if, if you see the first option by reheating, we know that reheating is usually done after the first stage of expansion. Uh, this is the combustion chamber zone. It is expanded, then again it is reheated, and then again the second stage of expansion takes place. So this is the process to bring the to bring the exhaust gas back to the old temperature, the maximum temperature, and then again to expand it. This is the process in which where we are adding some amount of heat. If we are adding some amount of heat, we are only doing it by the means of adding fuel to it, because this chemical energy of fuel is getting converted to the heat energy. So in case of reheating, we are adding fuel twice, like once in the combustion chamber and second in the reheating zone. So it is actually increasing the specific fuel consumption. This cannot be the correct answer. Now, if you see option B, high pressure ratio, actually they should mention perfectly that they are talking about the compressor, they are talking about turbine. But in case we are assuming that it is high pressure ratio across compressor, and we are thinking that it is a simple Brayton cycle, so compressor and turbines are having same pressure ratio. If we assume like that, so if you would have seen in your reference books or theory classes as well, that the specific fuel consumption actually reduces as we increase the compressor pressure ratio. This is because the T2 that you can achieve, if we are increasing pi c, the T2 that we are achieving is directly proportional, so this T2 will also increase. So if you see, this temperature will be much higher. In case of high pressure, it will be here. So whatever amount of Q that you need to supply, that is Cp T3 minus T2, this difference will go down. So the requirement of heat that is supplied will go down, and so specific fuel consumption, I mean the mass flow rate also of the fuel will go down. So option B is correct answer. Both no and none of the above no. So option B is the correct answer. In this problem, they have given stage efficiency eta s, work done factor. Work done factor, I think we need to compute. Stage efficiency and work done factor we need to compute for an actual flow compressor, and the actual pressure ratio developed was 1.35. So pi c they have provided as 1.35. The actual temperature rise, delta T naught actual, is 30 Kelvin. The blade inlet and outlet angles, axial flow compressor, so beta 2 15 degree and beta 1 47 degree. U is 225 meters per second and CA is 180 meters per second. The inlet temperature T01 is provided as 300 Kelvin. We need to determine eta stage and work done factor. So in order to determine work done factor, uh, we can, on the left hand side, we can put the actual enthalpy rise that is occurring across the compressor stage, and on the right hand side we will use Euler work done equation UCA. We can utilize the blade angles itself, 10 beta 2 minus 10 beta 1, but here there is no complete transfer of the work that is happening because of losses, and that is catered by this factor, work done factor, so which is here. So from this equation, we can obtain the work done factor easily, because rest of the information like U, CA, 10 beta 2, 10 beta 1, Cp and delta T naught actual is provided to us in the question. So work done factor that comes out from this calculation is 0.925. So we have obtained one part of the answer. The stage efficiency eta S can be determined using the efficiency equation because we do know what is the pressure rise, we know what is the inlet temperature, and we also know what is the actual temperature rise that is occurring. So in case we put all the values, we will obtain efficiency, and they have given in terms of percentage, and that we can obtain as 89.53%. So 89.53 is close to 89.6 and 0.925. So option C is correct. This is a simple problem based on basic formulas. In case you are having any doubt, please stop me there. For an ideal rocket engine with characteristic exhaust velocity of 1200 meters per second, so C star is provided as 1200 meters per second, and mass flow rate m dot is given as 73 kgs per second. This is a rocket problem. Thrust coefficient Cf is 1.5 and At is 0.0248 meters square. We need to find out what is the thrust. So in order to find out thrust, there is an equation called as Cf Pc At. This Pc times At can be replaced using m dot equation, m dot choke equation, PCAT by C star. So m dot times C star gives you PCAT. This can be replaced here. So CF, m dot and C star, all the values are provided in the question itself. You will get a thrust approximately 13140. I think I did not write, I missed one digit here. In the answer key it is 131200 or 131600. I missed one digit. This much amount of thrust you will be able to find out. So they have told in the question that in newtons you need to find and not in kilonewtons. So by mistake don't put it like kilonewtons. Such type of mistakes you need to avoid. This was quite simple problem using the basic formulas. Your MJet engine is tested at 12 kilometer altitude with flight Mach number and exhaust Mach number both are 2.2. It is considered to be an ideal ramjet wherein MI and ME Mach number at the inlet and exit are the same, 2.2. We need to say what is the possible value of thrust from the following. So although the Mach numbers are same, the velocity, so thrust is basically m dot times VE minus VI. Although the Mach numbers are same, the speed of sound AI and AE are different because here the ambient temperature Ti is present while computing the speed of sound. Here the exhaust temperature T is present, and we know that the temperature at which the gases come out, the exhaust gases, it's quite high, much more than the ambient temperature. So even the if you see gamma RTE, even if we assume gamma R to be same as the as that of the inlet, we will get AE more. So we will get VE also more because VE is nothing but ME times AE. VE will always be greater than VI. Hence, we will always produce thrust, positive thrust. That is the answer B. In this problem, they have given an axial flow turbine with a blade loading of. So usually blade loading can be considered same as stage loading coefficient. However, If we consider blade loading same as stage loading, that is delta H by U square, this definition, the answer of the degree of reaction comes out to be a negative. But after seeing the problem from where it is taken, the definition of blade loading is, for this particular problem, is defined as twice of stage loading. So they should have mentioned this in the problem itself, but they missed to mention. So in the question paper, they should have mentioned, but it was not mentioned. From where this question has been taken, they have mentioned that blade loading definition is twice that of stage loading. So this is not a general trend, but for a particular problem, they have mentioned this trend. Okay. So for this particular problem, we are going to use this definition of blade loading. And rotor exit angle as 70 degrees. So beta 3 is given as 70 degrees. Blade speed u is 300 meters per second. Flow coefficient is 0.4 and m dot is 60. So first of all, write we'll try to compute. We need to find out degree of reaction. So at one angle we know, the other angle beta 2, if we are able to find, we will be able to use one of the formula of degree of reaction. So in order to find beta 2, we will use this blade loading coefficient. Here if I expand delta H using Euler work done equation, I get something like, and also using blade angle definition. So I get something like 10 beta 3 2 upon u square. So here it gets cancelled and you get a flow coefficient, and here it becomes 1.1 tan beta 3 plus tan beta 2. From here we know phi, so you can easily compute what is beta 2 angle. I tan beta 2 comes around 2.7525. This is tan beta 2. So no, I think it comes around 0.1443 tan beta 2. Um, so using the degree of reaction DOR as this formula, pi by 2 tan beta 3 minus tan beta 2, you will obtain an answer of 0.548 DOR. So that comes within the answer key range. So here the only miss that was the definition of blade loading. They should have provided in the question itself. You assume it to be twice as that of stage loading. I hope it is clear. Are you guys with me? Okay. For this question, a grain in which the internal cross section is constant along the axis regardless of perforation shape is. So first of all, they should tell us what is like along which axis, the axial direction or the radial direction, first of all. And you can, if it is along the radial direction, yes, of course, cylindrical grain will have a constant cross section, internal cross section along that. But in case of, because the cylinder is going to regress like this in its own, in its circular shape only, if you see. But in case of star or a dog bone, the shape will differ because it is going to regress like this. So it will not be the same as that it was earlier. So along the radial axis, of course, cylindrical grain will have cross section constant. But if they are telling ki along axial direction, then all of the grains can have same internal cross section, because we can design a propellant grain wherein at the beginning of the port and at the end of the port we'll have the same cross section along the axis. We can design like that. It can be star, it can be dog bone, it can be addition. So this question is kind of unclear, but I hope you understand the logic. Like this is the logic with which you should answer. There is a possibility of designing a constant internal cross section grain throughout the length of the grain. It is possible. But if they are talking only about radial, then yes, of course, cylindrical grain will have constant internal cross section. Or else they should have given a, so cylindrical can be an annular or it can be a complete like end burning grain also. So end burning grain will have a constant what do you say, internal cross section along the length of the grain as well as in the radial direction. But all these things are like unclear, they should have mentioned. I hope it is clear. So here they have it's a rocket question. Thrust is provided, propellant mass consumption is provided, velocity of the vehicle, which is of no use for us, energy content of the propellant also of no use, combustion efficiency. So we need to find out the effective exhaust velocity. Effective exhaust velocity, we know that for the rocket, thrust is equals to m dot times VE. This is the thrust equation for any rocket. So thrust is provided as 8896. If you divide it with the propellant consumption rate 3.867, you will obtain the exhaust velocity, which comes around 2300.5 to 2300.5 meters per second. Oh, it's quite simple problem. Like you just need to know the thrust equation for a rocket. For this question, um, let us first read the question. There is an ideal rocket nozzle and the chamber temperature is 2000 Kelvin. Volume flow rate and specific volume at the throat is given. So from volume flow rate and the specific volume at the throat, we can identify what is the mass flow rate of the propellant. So m dot can be defined as 0.6095 by 0.5665. So if you try to compute, this comes around 1.0, I think 1.075 kgs per second. This is the mass flow rate. So first of all, this mass flow rate as 1.2 kgs per second is wrong. 10 kgs per second is wrong. These two options are wrong. In case we want to validate that whether D option or A option is correct, then what we can do is we can find out we can find out either of the parameters. We can find out first C star. C star because we know what is the temperature, combustion temperature. So RTC by R value is given, gamma value is given, and TC value is given. So this can be computed and it comes around C star, I think it comes around 1198.93 meters per second. So m dot times this 1198.93 if we multiply, and if we try to put either of this, let's say if we put chamber pressure, we will try to evaluate throat area. But the thing is, option D is correct when we say that mass flow rate is 1.2. But in fact, our mass flow rate is 1.075. So none of the options actually match with our calculation. So this is like kind of an ambiguous question. There is we cannot tell any answer to be correct because the mass flow rate that they have assumed is like zero point 0.6 by zero point 0.5, but in case they have given us 0.6095 and 0.565 as the volume flow rate and the specific volume. So none of the options actually match, but maybe you can just understand the procedure of how you can do. So mostly in such type of problems, you need to try to put values from the answer itself, from these options itself. Try to put in your equation and see, because there are more number of unknowns than knowns. So what you need to do is, so here either you can put chamber pressure in the equation and find out the throat area and validate, or else you can put throat area and find out chamber pressure and validate. So this is the thing. And velocity at the throat you can find out using, we know that at throat it is choked condition, so Mach 1. So gamma R times TE. How do you find this TE? TE can be found using TC by 1 plus gamma minus 1 by 2. Uh, this is the throat temperature, sorry. So here the Mach number at the throat will be 1. So you can find out the throat temperature as well. From there you can easily find the velocity at the throat. So velocity at the throat also using their parameters 1.3, 320 and 2000 by uh, this. If you try to find out, evaluate, it comes around 850.58. So even the velocity at the throat does not match with, I mean, with any of the answers. So this is kind of an ambiguous question. Such questions won't be there in the GATE exam, so don't worry. You just understand the procedure of how to solve in case such questions are asked in the exam. Is it clear? Okay. Now, this is the last question for this mock exam. It is asking which of the statements are true for an axial flow turbine. First option says that the exit velocity triangle of the stator nozzle and the exit velocity triangle of the rotor blade are symmetric in 50% reaction stage. We obviously know this. Uh, if this is the rotor, the triangle at the entry and the exit are symmetrical in case of 50% reaction stage. Alpha 2 is same as beta 3 and beta 2 is same as alpha 3. The second option says that static pressure across the rotor remains constant for 0 degree reaction. If we define a degree of reaction as in terms of the pressure rise or pressure loss, so we know that that definition calls for the pressure difference at the rotor by the pressure difference for the entire stage. If it is zero, that means there is no pressure change that is occurring in the rotor. The static pressure is remaining constant. So option B is also correct. Option C says that in a negative degree of reaction, expansion of gas is not possible because the turbine always acts as a compressor. So, I mean, it is a very, what do you say, straight. It says always acts as a compressor, which is not the case actually. Such type of strong statement is not, should not be uh, delivered. So this option is not correct. In the pure reaction stage, air angles at the rotor blades entry and exit remain the same. So Pure reaction stage means 100% reaction. In that case, if you define your degree of reaction in terms of phi, alpha 2 and alpha 3, you will be able to find out that alpha 2 and alpha 3 will be safe in, in order to get pure reaction, that is 100% or degree of reaction to be 1. So option B is also correct. So are there any doubts or else this is it? This is it for the day. Option B says that the static pressure across the rotor remains constant for a 0 degree reaction. So DOR, as a definition of rotor works between P2 to P3. So the static pressure across the rotor divided by the static pressure rise or pressure loss, pressure drop across the stage, entire stage, that is P1 minus P3. So this is the definition of degree of reaction in terms of static pressure rise or loss. So if you want degree of reaction to be zero, that means the numerator needs to be zero. That means P2 should be equals to P3, or in other words, the static pressure across the rotor remains constant in case of 0 degree of reaction. There are various definitions of degree of reaction. One with the velocities, one with the angles, one with the pressure, one with the enthalpy. So this was targeting the definition of from the pressure. Are there any other doubts? If not, then this is the end for the session. Thank you, guys.